Welcome, everyone, and thank you for tuning into this session, which would focus on Fusion ERP Analytics, also known as Fusion Analytics Warehouse, or simply Fusion Analytics. Quick look at the safe harbor, as we may have some forward-looking statements, especially as it relates to our product roadmap. My name is Ash Bajpai. I lead product management for ERP and SCM Analytics. But more importantly, I have the pleasure of hosting this session along with one of my favorite customers. Patrick is Chief Information Officer at Imagine Communications. Patrick, thank you for joining us today.
Glad to be here, Ash. Thank you.
Here's the agenda. I'll kick us off with a product overview. Then we will have Patrick speak to Imagine's business case, implementation journey, lessons learned. And then we'll wrap up with a quick view at the product roadmap. I'll also highlight some key upcoming features. I always like to start with the business challenges and opportunities which are top of mind for our customers, because that's what drives our product strategy and defines the why behind everything we do. Deloitte is an Oracle partner and collects inputs from finance leaders every so often with a body of work called CFO Signals. You're looking at results from the Q2 2022 CFO Signals survey, which had 97 CFO participants from US, Canada, and Mexico. When you look at the internal risk to the organization, besides financial performance, the CFOs are worried about talent and retention and strategy execution. As far as external risk factors are concerned, most are worried about inflation, events on geopolitical front, economy in general, and also supply chains. By the way, this survey was conducted back in May, so it has been a few months. We've seen significant shifts in the market since then, primarily due to changes in borrowing cost, which is correlated to inflation. Now, our goal at Oracle is to help our customers navigate through these risk factors and figure how to move the business forward. And we think data and analytics has an important role to play in this regard, especially Fusion Analytics, which provides the foundation to make progress on the internal and external risk factors, whether it is for HR-centric concerns like talent and retention, supply chain concerns, or financial impact to business due to inflation. But let me quickly introduce you to the Oracle Analytics portfolio, as it includes a few different offerings. Oracle Analytics Cloud is our industry-leading technology platform which provides capability for you to build your own custom analytics solution. This is our flagship PaaS offering. And then from pre-packaged application perspective, you get OTBI as part of Fusion Cloud Applications, which is well suited for module-centric transactional reports. Fusion Analytics is an add-on analytics application offering which provides a powerful and modern experience and takes you beyond transactional reporting, something we would focus on in this discussion. So what is Fusion Analytics? Fusion Analytics provides turnkey analytics for Oracle Cloud application customers. It is really meant for customers who run on ERP, supply chain, HCM cloud applications for their back office and front office needs. We provide prepackaged analytics on top of the cloud application data, eliminating the need to build custom data warehouses for Fusion data. In addition to prepackaged analytics for Fusion data source, Fusion Analytics is also extensible to non-Fusion data sources. So it is built on an open and extensible architecture and comes with Oracle Analytics Cloud and autonomous data warehouse cloud services bundled with your Fusion Analytics SaaS subscription. In terms of the prepackaged content, we provide thousands of best practice KPIs plus mini dashboards which support a broad set of use cases. For finance users, for example, you can quickly create management reports for your product P&Ls, regional P&Ls with a top-down view of the state of the business, but with a drill to details capability to dive into any transactions. You can understand the revenue and cost trend across quarters. You can do a comprehensive analysis on how you're doing on working capital front with detailed insights on KPIs like DSO, DPO, DIO. For procurement executives and category managers, we provide a robust spend analytics offering which can help you optimize your direct, indirect service expenses. And for our supply chain users, you can get insights on order fulfillment process, understand cost drivers, improve your product profitability, and monitor on-time delivery performance. If you are a project-driven organization, we have a fairly decent coverage on project portfolio management data and insights. This is more of a recent development and has come into place over the last 3 or 4 releases, I would say. We provide a view across your project portfolio in terms of revenue, billing, and cost, with capability to do margin analysis at an aggregate level as well as at specific project level. But arguably, the biggest benefit of Fusion Analytics is the prepackaged pipeline, pulling data from Fusion and delivering to the prepackaged warehouse every morning for you to consume. The pipeline works like a utility service, almost always up and running. We have 24/7 DevOps support and internal monitoring in place to ensure you're getting the data you need. We support zero downtime architecture, which means your business users always have access to insights, even when the refresh is going on or when you are going through a patch upgrade. Also, keep in mind, we certify Fusion releases before they come to you. These data pipelines not only work on the current Fusion release you're on, but also certified for upcoming releases. So, in that sense, it's both backward and forward compatible. Security has been top of mind for many of our customer CIOs. Fusion Analytics comes with a fully configurable application security framework which works in conjunction with Fusion. To the extent you're using the out-of-box job roles, we automate a lot of the security setups and federate out of the IDCS that is configured with your Oracle Cloud applications. If you have complex security requirements, our security is extensible, right? And you can customize it to meet your requirements. Every customer has complex but critical requirements around cross-functional analytics. Where you're trying to leverage data coming from finance, supply chain, HR, sales, marketing, and oftentimes even different modules within the same pillar, right? For this class of use case, you do need robust support around what we call in the analytics world as common dimensions, which helps you connect different transactions to provide a comprehensive, or call it a connected view of your business. Now, we provide customers, suppliers, product numbers, fiscal calendar, business units, ledgers, and much more as common dimensions. This is also an area where we are constantly adding more content based on the feedback from customers. As an example, a lot of our customers use the order to cash and procure to pay related insights coming from ERP and SCM cloud modules. Now, understanding the end-to-end process includes including the process health and cycle times. It can be critical to your success. Here are a couple of examples of the kind of analysis you could do in the product today. An order to cash analysis, which includes not only bookings, invoice, and revenue amounts, right, as financial insight, but also end-to-end cycle times or on-time shipment metrics. On procure to pay front, you have agreement spend, total P amount, receipt amount, in addition to savings potential. These are just a couple of examples. There's a lot more you can do with the product. A big part of the value add with Fusion Analytics is leveraging the machine learning capabilities to drive your business forward. We are working hard to ensure we abstract the complexity for our business users, which are often non-technical, right, and provide them with ready-to-use insights. We have a robust architecture in place to enable such insights and have many use cases in flight, which I'll speak to when we get to our roadmap section. But for now, as an example, here's one sample use case we are actively testing with our customers. Working capital is top of mind for most of you, right? And collection efficiency can have significant influence on the invested working capital. So to optimize the collection efforts, our customers can leverage the ML generated insights regarding which customers and customer invoices are at risk of collection. So this can help drive focus on the most risky customers. Now, we have a growing list of customers for Fusion Analytics across industries. You may find some familiar names here on this slide, from higher education to technology to professional services to manufacturing to telecom. Many companies are now leveraging Fusion Analytics as the core investment to drive their analytics agenda forward. And many of these customers, by the way, use custom data warehouses in the past, but they took a different path this time around. Here are a couple of customers' quotes which speak to how these customers are getting value from Fusion Analytics. Corsair is implementing Fusion Analytics along with Fusion implementation, while Target Hospitality was already live on Fusion when they purchased FAW. Both of these customers are our reference customers amongst a growing list of references. On that note, let me take a pause here and turn over to Patrick to understand how Imagine is getting value out of Fusion Analytics.
Thanks, Ash. So why don't we just jump ahead into the next slide. So a little bit about Imagine Communications to basically help set the stage on who we are. So Imagine Communications is a tech software company. We make network gear and software specifically for media, digital, and broadcast companies. Basically to facilitate program scheduling, the spinning up of digital platforms, scheduling, and monetization of ad placements. We've been an Oracle customer now for over 10 years, and we transitioned to Oracle Fusion Cloud from R12 in March of 2021. Next slide, Ash. So some of the challenges that we basically wanted to fix with a new analytic platform as we transition to Oracle Fusion Cloud is, overall, we took a hard look at our reporting platform and how data was being compiled and distributed throughout the enterprise. We saw that the bulk of the reporting that we had was manual via large data dumps into Excel. And why this provided reporting flexibility to the person who was compiling the data, the output lacked standardization. It lagged in timing and relevance as the team member crunched the numbers and built Excel-based graphs, dashboards, in order to present data back into upper management. In addition, the process at times was very error-prone. It didn't provide the at-a-glance views that leadership was looking for. And in addition, questions that came up from the data that was being presented had to be researched rather than allowing direct drill downs into the data set by the consumer. We also had issues with the overall platform. The team was building these manual extracts from disparate platforms such as Salesforce, Fusion ERP, supply chain management, and then linking the data together. And these large data extracts were very difficult to maintain. And as we looked at it, we just basically determined it wasn't going to be sustainable as the data sets continued to grow. We also had trust issues with the data. We had load failures, and that would cause reporting issues as we were trying to do the daily reporting. We also noted there was a high cost to our overall solution. We were providing Salesforce and Fusion licenses to a large segment of our user base in order for them to run OTBI reports, Salesforce reports, and other reporting. And this overall increased our licensing costs while not solving the overall reporting issue. And it also detracted from our overall goal of wanting to have one single reporting platform and a source of truth. So we evaluated many, many different solutions and platforms, and we really saw Oracle Analytics and the Fusion Analytic Warehouse as our most logical choice. Next slide. So as we looked overall at revamping the reporting, we knew we had to completely transform the way the team thought about reporting and build a platform that was going to be sustainable for the foreseeable future. We talked to our executive team, directors, managers. They all said, we need a set of standard dashboards and KPIs that we can go to at any time to view the health of the organization and how we're progressing during the month and the quarter. They didn't want to have to send an email and ask somebody to pull and compile data. And this meant that we had to work back in with all of the different groups to define the standard KPIs, as well as federating data from the FP&A team. I don't know if you guys had to ever federate data from the FP&A team, but it's not an easy thing to do. The Oracle Fusion Analytics platform came with a number of prepackaged KPIs, dashboards, and drill downs. And we leveraged those as discussion points back in with our end user base as examples of presenting answers to common questions in lieu of presenting huge data dumps and then building those things from scratch. So really what we wanted to do is say, hey, what questions are we trying to answer? What questions do the executives want answers to? And how can we present that in a tile or a KPI that gives them the answer at a glance and allows them to be able to drill down on that data set and look at, hey, what compiled up that number? And then be able to do some self-serving of that information themselves. Now, in addition to that goal of transforming reporting, as I mentioned before, we needed to run on a sustainable platform. The way that our current system ran was basically, again, on these big data extracts coming from our ERP system, from Salesforce, into a MicroStrategy front end. And when we looked at the Fusion Analytic Warehouse, we saw a platform where a core portion of our data set was already being created and maintained. And that alleviated our internal team from having to build these things from scratch. The platform is extensible, allowing us to bring in historical data points from our R12 environment, as well as those other third parties such as Salesforce, as I mentioned before. So we're able to easily compile and combine that data into usable dashboards for our executive teams, managers, and directors. And once the whole platform here is completed, we're going to be able to deprecate our existing custom platform, further driving some cost savings, and we're going to be able to support this entire platform in-house. So that's, again, those key things from our goals and objectives. As we look at our implementation plan, we basically broke it into what we're calling 4 waves. So from a project management perspective, you could call these phases. We like to call them waves. So wave 1, as it came in, we're really looking at the core ERP analytics. So the finance portion, the GL portion, if you will, and we actually brought in the EPM portion as well. And then we wanted to narrow the focus of that wave down to 20 custom reports and KPIs. So what was the most important things for finance and our planning teams to see, as well as our executives to see? And we focused on those in wave 1. As we rolled into wave 2, that was more around the supply chain analytics. And we also brought in some select historical information from our 12 system around our orders. And again, in this wave, it was focusing on what are the 20 most important custom KPIs and reports that the end user wanted to see. And we built those out in that particular phase. So that kind of brings us to where we are today. So as we're looking at these next waves, this is moving away from the out-of-the-box, the supply chain and the ERP analytics that came from Oracle, and we're building in more of the custom subject areas. So we're bringing in the Salesforce information, subscription. We use a third-party revenue system called RevPro, and we're bringing those data sets in and combining it back in with the information that we already had in waves 1 and 2. So we can compile the KPIs and the analytics that we need to see around those particular areas. And wave 4, we call that pretty much batting cleanup. It's taking a look at, hey, what's been left in our current reporting platform and what did we learn in waves 1, 2, and 3 that the teams want to see, and we're going to finish building that out. So we still have two more waves to go. So a lot of work still in front of us. But we're also reaping the benefits right now from waves 1 and 2 by working in a more agile approach to delivery back into the teams. Let's go ahead and go to the next slide. So as we look at what we've built today, our key goals were to develop dashboards and KPIs in a timely manner that reflected the data sets that we wanted to see in our finance analytics or ERP analytics and our supply chain. So two areas that I just wanted to highlight back in with this particular group is with our product P&Ls and profitability and budget and our receivable activity. So our product P&L budgets were normally supplied by the FP&A team to leadership. This data was presented once a month, normally after the month had closed, thus lagging in the ability to respond. Our receivables dashboards are a core part of the executive reporting package, and actually took a considerable amount of time to prepare. So automating these increased the accuracy of the reporting, and it allowed the team to research anomalies rather than focus on the compilation of the data. So let's just go ahead and jump into what the team developed. So the first one here, we've got the product P&L budget owner view. It's pretty much an income statement. And yeah, it's kind of Excel-y, as Ash pointed out when we were talking about this. But it was a framework that leadership had already come to accept and understand. So we just rebuilt that in the platform. And this is actually a dashboard that the executive team can go out anytime during the month, review, and then they can take action inside that month. So they can ask questions around sales or revenue while still having the ability to impact the numbers. So for example, they can say, hey, why is revenue not trending or meeting the numbers for this month? Did a customer delay? Was there a rev rec or a change decision on order X, Y, or Z? So it gives them that real-time ability to ask questions to say, hey, I thought we booked something, or why is this expense high? And we can respond to it immediately rather than having to respond to it retroactively 10 days, 7 days, 5 days, or whatever it is after the close of the month. Let's jump to the next one, Ash. So the next one is a budget owner view. So we talked a bit about the product teams. So the product teams are really focused around revenue and expense. We wanted to develop a dashboard that allowed all department and expense or cost center owners to be able to go out there and look at their data at any time during the month. So the secondary dashboard focused directly on expenses. And this allows departments to view expenses compared to the current outlook and plan. It'll allow them to drill on any one of those parent accounts that you see up there on the screen, and they can view the detailed activity. So they can see it holistically as in the parent hierarchy for the account, and they can drill directly into all of the individual accounts associated with that parent. And it allows them to make adjustments or alter course if necessary. So if they start seeing an expense that is trending higher, they can look into it, determine why that expense is trending higher. Is it appropriate? Is it not appropriate? Did something get miscoded? And they can take that action on it again in the current month that's impacting their particular budget or outlook. Let's go ahead and jump to the next one. So the next set of slides are really dealing with our accounts receivable. This is very much a hot topic. This is basically impacting a company's cash position, as well as seeing if we've got issues in a particular region or customer base with payments. So the first one is a weekly aging. And what the teams really wanted to see here is from a weekly perspective and week over week, how are we doing? Are we collecting more? Is our AR trending up? Is it trending down? Are our buckets growing? Are they shrinking? Those sorts of questions, this particular dashboard answers at a glance. If we go to the next slide, Ash, we've got one that really shows the breakout. So we're seeing the change week over week at a detailed level. Did our invoices go up or down? Did we add new invoices? Cash applied, did that go up or down? So are we getting cash in or out from our customers? Are we extending more credits? Are we doing more adjustments? Are those two buckets growing or shrinking? So it gives that at a glance view back into executive management so we can see how are we managing our cash? How are we managing our customer AR? And again, this is a week over week. If we jump down to the next one, we built this receivables daily aging bucket. So this is point in time. So And so whereas the other slides are basically showing a week over week, this is showing a day over day. So as the teams come out here to look at this, this is more of a director manager view. They can see, hey, how are we impacting that week over week? And how are we doing on collecting on average day over day? This particular dashboard is showing us our top 10 customer accounts by aging bucket. And it also allows the team to see where there are potential problem areas that are going to require attention. We've got filters over on the left-hand side that the end consumer can change to be more focused on a particular customer, region, or whatnot. And then we also are allowing them to drill down to the invoice data by customer. So a great dashboard just to kind of see, okay, who are our problem customers? Where are our aging buckets sitting at this particular point in time? And making sure that we've got the right focus and the right resources being focused on addressing issues and AR activity. And actually, let's go ahead and jump down to the next one. The next one is receivables by region. So a key concern for leadership is how is each region in our portfolio performing and which regions may be lagging in collections. So this view is showing that outstanding AR by region. It is also showing who the top customers are in that region, as well as the top customers with outstanding AR. And again, the filters on the left-hand side is allowing us to become more focused and view dashboards for particular areas, as well as to drill down to our invoice data per customer. If we move to the next slide. So some of the lessons that we learned and feedback that we've given back into the product team as we move forward with the Fusion Analytic Warehouse is the first step is as you're doing your Fusion ERP implementation, pay good attention to the setups and the configurations that you're doing for your GL. So as you're thinking about your account structures and you're building stuff out, there's a categorization that Oracle allows you to do. Really think that through because that can help streamline any of the work into FAW. The next one, as we went through the FAW implementation, we learned that only fully accounted transactions make it into FAW. So when you're looking at your accounts payable data or your AR data, those transactions need to be fully accounted. If they're not going to show up in FAW. So that was actually a little bit of a curveball that was thrown to us. We worked back in with both our payables team and our AR team, and we made some process changes to make sure that those particular transactions were actually being fully accounted as soon as they could, so they would flow into the FAW platform. So that's kind of a key thing to be thinking about. So if you're not accounting all your transactions, if you have a process that says, hey, hold on to this for XYZ reason for a particular amount of time, you may want to rethink that just to make sure that that data set comes into FAW. The next one, be sure you understand how currency works in FAW. Back in with our implementation partner, which happens to be Apps Associates and Oracle, and we sat back and we said, okay, how does currency flow in? How are we going to be able to look at stuff in a common currency? And we created a set of secondary ledgers in our GL to make sure that we could report everything on USD. As we start looking at things transaction by transaction, and we look at the common currency that is set up in FAW, we're still working through a couple of the issues there on a transaction basis, but we're actually able to at least land on a common ground that we're working back in with our business teams so they understand how all that works. For order management, we did learn that draft orders were excluded. Normally that wouldn't cause a huge problem for customers. As you're looking at draft orders, those are orders that are kind of in progress. Maybe you haven't booked them yet, and you're still working through a couple of issues back in with the customer. For us, the way that we have the workflow set up is anytime a change was made, whether that was an attachment or anything, the order went right back to draft status. And so we would lose the information in FAW if one of those changes happened to be, hey, we added a new line or we changed X, Y, or Z, so the amount of that order increased. So that unfortunately was being excluded from FAW. So again, more process stuff that we're working back in with our end user base and changing some rules in the system to make sure that orders don't go into draft status as often as they were. The last one, this is always a fun one to discuss. Everybody wants real-time data. It always comes up. The ad hoc refresh capability is currently limited to 3 a day and can be time consuming. If you're running it by subject area, maybe that timing isn't so bad. But if you need to do a full refresh of the entire data warehouse to keep your data in sync, that can become problematic. So if somebody at 3 p.m. wants to see real-time information, they may have a few hours that they have to wait in order to see that in FAW. So that's a pain point that we're still working to address. And I'm sure Ash is actively working on that. So those are some of the lessons learned and how we're using FAW. Ash, I'll throw it back over to you.
Well, Patrick, thank you. And I would say a very good list of lessons learned there. And I love your implementation approach. You guys have taken a very agile implementation approach in multiple waves. So going live with out of box stuff first, and then expanding and extending to non-Fusion data sources. Very, very pragmatic approach. All right, so let me provide you a quick update on the roadmap for Fusion ERP, and I'll touch on supply chain analytics as well. Much like Fusion, we provide 4 major releases in a calendar year. The current release of Fusion ERP Analytics is 22R3, and the first column speaks to what we have delivered as part of this release. When you look at the upcoming bucket for financials, we are planning some critical enhancements, and I'll speak to some of them in the subsequent slides. On the projects front, we plan to add project invoices, project assets related insights. Beyond that, in the future buckets, we'll have to get to some of the more advanced financial modules like cash management and budgetary controls. Again, on project front, we still have work to do on performance and grants. On the procurement front, we'll be looking into sourcing, contract, and supplier qualification management, but it's a little bit away for us. Fusion Supply Chain Analytics was a more recent addition to the Fusion Analytics family. It was launched back in December of 2021. Our current focus is on order management, inventory, and costing, in addition to procurement. And the next set of capabilities would be most likely manufacturing related, and we have a lot more to cover beyond that. Supply Chain Cloud is a fairly comprehensive offering with many modules. Let me hit on a couple of key features, okay, that we're working on, or key investment areas. So we're working on machine learning use cases, sites to our business users. Here's a list of what we are looking at. Some of this is evolving, and our approach is generally to define a feature which we can test with customers based on production quality data, so that we can refine our models and ensure they are providing meaningful output to customers. For our finance and accounting users, one of the core requirements is to connect the dots from GL balances to journals to subledger transaction details. Now we support that today with the Generation 1 GL account analysis feature, but it has some limitations. We're working on a Generation 2 feature where these limitations will go away, but just not that. It would become a customer configurable experience to cater to specific accounting requirements coming from your user base. The experience will involve a one-time configuration where you can select specific journal sources of interest based on your user requirements, then pick specific attributes to save and publish that as a user-defined subject area. To begin with, we plan to support one such subject area with potential to expand to multiple subject areas in future. We have many customers who use Fusion Accounting Hub Cloud Service as the bridge to general ledger right, to capture the accounting for specific business transactions from the custom or third-party applications they use. Now we're working on getting the accounting hub custom subledger data to Fusion Analytics Warehouse, including the balances, the journals, supporting reference details, and this is to provide performant analytical insights for FAH customers. Now, not only that, not only the data coming from accounting hub to the warehouse, but we also have a framework which can be used to prepare the data, which should be inbound to FAH. As represented here in the slides with arrows 1, 2, and 3. Now, this framework leverages the technical components that FAW provides to stage the data, prepare it, have some level of standardization and grouping before it is fed to accounting hub. We know that many of our customers have non-Oracle data sources as part of their enterprise landscape, like Salesforce, or may have Oracle on-premise data sources like eBusiness Suite or PeopleSoft. To make it easy for such customers to bring data to the warehouse, we plan to provide managed data pipelines, which effectively provides a capability for customers to define what data they want to bring from these sources to the warehouse in a no-code, minimal code environment, right? And these pipelines are then run, managed by Oracle, pulling data from these select sources with reduced IT support needed from the customer IT teams. Many of ERP cloud customers use Oracle's EPM cloud offerings such as PBCS, FCCS, and that can be an important data source for especially those in finance, right? We have that covered as part of managed pipeline as well. It's something we support today, and it's going to only improve in future. Sustainability is top of mind for many customers, and most of them are trying to really figure out how to address the analytics needs around environmental, social, and governance aspects of their business, right? This is a rapidly evolving domain with new expectations and new regulatory requirements coming to light as we speak. Now, here at Oracle, we are working on an end-to-end strategy regarding how to address ESG needs for our customers, and Fusion Analytics will be front and center of our strategy as new capabilities are delivered to customers. So stay tuned for more updates on that. This is all we have today to share with you. Wish you all good luck as you all make efforts to be a more data-driven organization. And please note, Oracle is here to partner with you in this journey. And I'm looking forward to listening to your story someday. Please stop by the Fusion Analytics demo pod during Oracle CloudWorld and engage with us to learn more. Patrick, thank you for being a customer, and thanks for taking the time to join us today. Thanks everyone who was able to listen in to this session.
Thanks for having me, Ash. Thanks.